Hi, everybody. This is my good friend Dale Youngman. Dale, thank you for participating in the Passionate Ones project. I got a quick question for you.
Mm-hmm.
How do we know each other?
Oh my goodness, we met in college. We went to school together. So I met you when I was 18.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're one of my oldest friends.
That's right. And I was wondering if you could just tell us a little bit about your backstory, how you ended up in Los Angeles, California.
Well, it was following a divorce. I was in the fashion industry in New York City, and divorce happened. So I moved out here, actually with the man in between.
The rebound.
The rebound man, who I was with for about 2 years, and then we split and I remarried, and my husband was in the textile industry, so we actually began a textile printing company.
Mm-hmm.
And from there I met many artists because we were doing giclée prints on canvas, and one of the few companies in LA actually to be doing that. And I said, I know so many artists.
Can I stop you? Could you just
Sure.
quickly explain to the viewers what a giclée print is?
A giclée print is a digital print on canvas that is created with a high resolution printer, generally like a 45 or 60 inch wide printer.
Mm-hmm. Okay, wonderful.
So since I knew so many artists, I started thinking in my mind how I would love to have an art gallery.
Okay.
And
because my follow-up to that question is, what are you doing now? What are you doing today?
well, today, because of the virus and most of LA being still kind of shut down, the gallery that I was managing and curating closed in April.
Mm-hmm.
So now I am doing back to what I was doing previous to having that fabulous job. I am doing artist marketing, artist management, I am writing, I create web content, artist bio statements, I do social media for artists and other small businesses, and still trying to sell art when I can.
Okay, so let's combine the two last things you just said. Living in times of COVID and doing all this work. Okay, now the question here is, how has the COVID-19 pandemic affected not only your work, but what have you learned about yourself during this pandemic that you otherwise would not have found out if we weren't in this apocalypse?
That's a good question. Well, the job that I had previously was running and curating a beautiful gallery, and when they closed in April, I was kind of stymied. How am I going to live?
Mm-hmm. And I believe they probably closed because of
COVID, yeah. It was a citywide mandate, and he determined that since we were going to be closed for an undetermined length of time, he couldn't afford to keep me on or even furlough me. He just decided to close the gallery permanently.
Okay.
So I was let go, and I thought, okay, well, I have all sorts of skills. How am I going to put this to good use and continue paying rent? So what I found out is that I really like working from home and being alone. It's not, a lot of people have a great deal of difficulty staying in the house.
Isn't it funny, as we mature, that we actually end up, but two things could happen. Either we're married and have a great family, or if we're not, we actually get to realize that we're not such bad people after all, and we can hang out with ourselves without driving ourselves crazy.
Right. Well, I like myself. I like the home I've created. I've surrounded myself with beautiful things and beautiful art. I've got work by about 40 artists in my home. And so I feel like I'm still in a gallery. I'm surrounded by beauty. I have 2 cats, and so I have companionship. And I don't miss, I feel no FOMO. So there's no fear of missing out for me any longer. I used to feel like I had to be out all the time, going to openings. I would go to probably between 2 and 5 openings every weekend.
That's right. You were the social butterfly
I was
of
out.
the art world.
I was out quite a bit,
Yeah.
looking for
Do you miss
talent.
that at all?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't.
You don't. Okay.
That's the thing I've discovered about myself, that I'm okay being alone. I do miss my friends. I miss hugging.
Because you're in a special. Well, I'm sorry. Didn't mean to interrupt, but when I came in, you asked me to leave my mask on, which I did.
Yes.
Because you have asthma.
I have asthma, so it's considered a pre-existing condition, and I'm a high-risk person for COVID.
Because you're the first person I've interviewed who does have a pre-existing condition. Excuse
yes.
me. And now, how's that been? I mean, that's a totally different. I believe. I mean, adding on to the whole pandemic, am I going to catch this thing? How often do I need to be tested? And then you throw into the mix that I think you told me you have asthma.
Asthma.
How do you deal with that?
Well, I don't go out.
Well,
it's easy. When I do go out, I go to the grocery store every other week. I buy food for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I think I've had 2 social outings since April.
Okay.
I don't let anybody in the house generally.
So I just have to again also thank you for letting me do this interview with you here in your home. Of course, we are standing just so that our viewers know.
We are 6 feet apart.
I have my mask on. I'm just about 6 feet apart from you, Dale, and so
We're good.
We're practicing social distancing and trying to keep this as
I feel okay about it.
safe as possible. Okay. So,
Well,
so you said you actually go out to do the shopping? You don't do any home delivery?
I do a lot of home delivery.
So
I go to the grocery store, and that's it. Pretty
So-
much that's it. And I go to the vet because I have an elderly cat who has some health issues.
Okay.
So those are the only 2 places that I go.
How old is your cat?
He's 16.
16.
He was born into my hands, so he's very precious to me.
Okay, he's just like a
He'll
real
come out and visit in a little
true
while.
family member. Yeah.
Oh, he is my son. Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
And he sleeps with his head on my shoulder. So I have the ability to give love and receive love, even without seeing my friends, which, as I said, is the one thing I miss, hugging. But, I get a lot of love from him. So he's usually on my lap. So I think he's nervous about you being here.
We all, I believe, can attest to the fact that we do miss our friends and the immediate closeness that we have with them, the give and take, the interactions.
The good thing is that I'm busy. I've got a fair amount of work projects, so I'm curating an online show, I'm writing artist bios. This week I have 5 writing projects. So I'm able to have a modest living, and I can basically do it from anywhere. Though I do love Los Angeles, I have a friend that's trying to convince me to move to Tahoe, so that's a maybe in my future.
Okay, interesting. What is Tahoe like?
It's cold.
Oh, is it really?
Well, it's a big snow resort town.
I see.
But there's a very big art scene, and the friend that's trying to convince me to go there is a very respected artist, a very successful artist. He's head of the Arts Council there. He's got a regular little TV gig that he does, and he wants me to come up and manage his business.
Oh, interesting.
So
Can you? Okay.
it's a maybe. It's a maybe.
It sounds like an interesting proposition.
Well, the whole reason I haven't thought of it before, he's been after me for 5 years, is because I felt like I couldn't leave my friends, and I couldn't leave my social life, and I couldn't leave the gallery scene.
It's amazing.
That's gone right now.
Yeah.
So I realized that I could be okay if I moved somewhere.
It's interesting that you responded to that question. Because my follow-up is, I've noticed that with the people that I've interacted with, people that I've interviewed, I'm getting 2 kinds of replies to this next question. And the question is, since COVID started, I've seen people react in 2 ways, sometimes a mixture of both, but a lot of my friends have been given this COVID pandemic as an opportunity to reinvent themselves, and they've gone in that direction, and then others have been basically paralyzed with fear and anxiety, and I can also respect that, and I know that at the very beginning I may have felt that for a minute or two, just at the unknown part of what is happening.
Right. Well, it's still unknown.
Where on the spectrum do you think you have fallen here? Are you, look, I've known you for a long time. You're a self-motivated woman, and yet at the same time you have asthma. So that is the question, and I serve it to you.
I don't let my medical issues limit me, really, because even if I didn't have asthma, I wouldn't be going out socially now. I wouldn't be going out to bars or restaurants, because COVID is spiking all over the world, and I don't want to get sick, period. The fact that if I get it, I probably will die because of the asthma maybe has me a little more reticent about social activities, but for the most part, like I said, I'm fine being at home. I have Zoom meetings and Zoom happy hours with my friends, and I think I'm okay with that for the moment, and it's probably going to be like that until the spring. So I've resigned myself, and I'm not anxious or stressed about it anymore. The thing that, I need to make sure that I can continue to make money. So I'm looking into how else can I do that, creating marketing materials for myself so I can pitch my services to corporate buyers, interior designers, and developers. As far as an art consultant, helping them find art that they need for projects. So that's probably my next step for myself.
And that's my next question to you. Describe your job a little bit, like as being an art curator, and how do you... This is, I think, the perfect opportunity, because you asked me how was I doing when I first walked in, and I said to you, it's been my best year ever.
Well, it's not my best year.
Well,
but
different circumstances.
Yeah.
Between the two of us, and so describe your hustle.
Well, right now it's. I'm working on a couple of different projects. I still curate the online gallery for the location I used to manage. Castelli Art Space has an online gallery on the Artsy platform. So I curate that. And that keeps me busy coming up with themes and finding new artists, and then all the uploading and creating of artist profiles, all the social media, the newsletters. It's time consuming. But I love it because it's my creative outlet. In addition...
Do you get paid for that?
I'm on commission.
Oh, okay.
So I work hard to make sales.
All right.
The other thing that I do is write. And I love writing. So at the moment, I did a little post on Facebook a couple of weeks ago saying if you're an artist looking to rebrand yourself for the new year, if you need a website or a new bio or an artist statement, or maybe you want to give a kick to your social media, let me know, because those are all things that I do.
So
and
you also work with social media platforms?
I do social media for 4 different people or entities. And they range from an artist to a jeweler, a massage therapist, a grief counselor. Coming up, I have a new client coming on board that is an African art importer. So as a writer, I can write about any topic. Some of my personal posts are about food and wine, because that's another passion of mine. My posts are always about food and wine, art, or cats. So
what platforms are you working with right now?
I post predominantly on Instagram and Facebook. My clients are not so interested in Twitter, and LinkedIn I find more as a way to connect with people, but not so much to promote.
Right.
So it's pretty much Instagram and Facebook at the moment.
And what kind of responses you've been getting from your both Instagram and Facebook?
Well, my the most recent client, I increased her followers by 33% in a month. So I thought that was pretty significant.
Did that translate into any ka-ching for her?
She had
Or
me,
for you?
well, I get paid for my social media.
Okay.
You know, it's a contract. It's a weekly contract. I do 5 postings a week, generally for $100. So that's my starving artist rate. So it's $20 an hour, and I don't have any problem usually with them. That nobody has a problem with that, because you have to. It's all about building your brand and visibility and getting either your artwork or your business seen by a lot of people. So just getting more eyes on you. That's basically what social media is all about. So I'm pretty good at that. It's posting and engaging. It's not just.
There's a lot of engagement that needs to be done.
And I spend more time on that.
Important. So you're basically creating content for these people.
Yes.
Okay. They actually, whatever they do, whether it's art or, as you said, a wellness center or some kind.
It's a client that is a grief counselor.
Grief counselor,
Yes.
yes. And you would write copy and somehow get, obviously, some images uploaded as well. Okay.
Yeah, I do image search. I find all the content and then I just write about it. And then for the engagements, I find people that I think would be either interested in their product or service, and you know what engagement is. I write on their page and make some profound or witty or interesting comment that hopefully makes them want to turn around and follow us.
Yeah,
So.
of course, very good. Do you manage any artists or represent any artists?
I have a few artists that I'm mentoring at the moment.
Mentoring. Okay. What does that consist of?
Portfolio review, some direction, marketing, rewriting bios and statements, helping with the website development, submission packages. There's a lot that goes into it.
Okay. Are they young artists?
2 of them are young artists. Then I have a couple of older artists that I've been working with for a long period of time, and I pretty much give them direction as to, well, at the moment no one's doing any real shows, but I help with their packages to send out to either museums or other galleries or art consultants, and you know, again, just trying to get their artwork seen.
Because that's, I guess, the old way of doing business, right?
Here comes my boy.
Hey, buddy.
Here, champ.
You just came in. Hello. Cat magnet. Hello, darling. I'm not the vet, don't worry. So, the other question that I just feel like I need to ask, because it's so important, how is your business, the art world business model, the whole paradigm of doing business in the art world, how has it changed?
Oh,
Where do you see it going?
that's a good question.
How are you going to adapt, or have you adapted already? This is a long answer, so
Well, what has happened here in Los Angeles, I think, is pretty much the way it is around the world. A lot of galleries
I'm sorry,
and museums.
excuse me, only because I know how important LA is to the art world. Could you just really briefly tell the viewers how important LA art has become?
There are more artists living and working in Los Angeles than in the other 3 top art markets combined.
In
This
the
is
world,
what I read.
In the world.
Yes.
Or in America.
In the country. In the country, yeah.
Nice.
LA, New York is still very important as far as blue chip art, but LA is the center for contemporary art right now.
Okay.
There's just so many artists. There's an art walk in every corner of the city.
Yes, there is.
And
So just to, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go off on a tangent, but we were talking about how the whole business paradigm has
right.
been upended.
How it's, well, in April, everybody was forced to close. So all galleries closed, museums closed, businesses closed. There's been some gradual reopening. Now we're hitting another spike. So businesses are preparing to close down or go by appointment only. And a lot of art is well, a lot of art galleries who had regular businesses have closed, and I get a notice probably every week about someone else that's closing, and they're going online. So that, I think, is really where things are going to be moving to. According to a few of the art platforms that I'm familiar with, their sales have increased by a tremendous amount.
But people want nothing more than to be sitting around locked in their homes and buy something.
Exactly.
I guess we can add art to that.
So there's a new there's a new twist to the Artsy platform that I'm working on now, and they have a system called Buy Now, and it's increased by 2 or 3-fold, where just like you would go online to Amazon and buy a blender, and it's with a push of a button, and now you can do the same thing with art. So there's no dealing with the gallery or with the artist or anything like that. You're scrolling through, you see something you like, you push a button and upload your credit card. So I'm now in the midst of curating a holiday gift show, and that's going to be about 100 pieces of works under $1,000. So there'll be work for 200 on up. And
can you tell us about this event?
Well, it's an online-only gallery event.
And the name of the online-only gallery?
It's Castelli Art Space. So you would go to www.artsy.net/Castelli-art-space.
You know pretty well. Okay.
Well, I type it into Instagram every day. So anyway, I usually do a monthly show, and so this will be the holiday gift show. And
were these galleries prepared with online galleries? Or did they just think I'm really special and people have to come in to see the art, to visualize it, to obviously not to touch it, but to get close enough to smell the paint drying on it? Could this be a reason why some galleries have shut down and others have, like you said, have thrived with online sales?
Well,
what has been your experience?
There was a time when you just could not be open. So if you wanted to sell any art, it had to be online.
Right. But did these galleries have an e-commerce site or an online presence?
Some, but not too many. I think the whole move to online, and sometimes it's online as a supplement, or it's online only, which it is now for Castelli Art Space.
Well, do you think they, again, we were all given this gift, this luxury of having time on our hands.
Well,
we couldn't go out.
Right.
We couldn't really, obviously, interact in life in the normal way. So instead, again, I bring this up because I think it's really important. What did you do with this time? And
Okay. Keep going.
Because I work with retailers, and a couple of weeks into lockdown, I came to the realization that these stores are going to close.
Yeah.
And not because they're bad. They're actually really good stores, but they don't have online.
Right. Well,
and
it's a lot of people don't like to buy art online. It's hard.
I'm not talking about people who are buying it, okay? Because here's the thing. Again, COVID has given us a little gift, and that is and again, not everyone probably thinks it's a gift, but it's really pushed forward technology.
Yes.
To the forefront. I can't tell you how many people I know now that do not bother going to either their supermarket when they can order their staples, toilet paper,
right,
toothpaste.
Sure.
You don't have to touch and squeeze and smell that.
Right, exactly.
That gets delivered.
Right.
Okay, that's like 80% usually of your shopping experience, and then and these are like grandma, grandpa are doing it.
Right. Older people that never really paid attention or utilized technology are now.
And they realized it wasn't so hard to do, to point, click, and buy.
Right, as long as they had the apparatus.
Exactly.
Well.
So again, leads me to this this thing, like, what I've seen people who have, even if people don't have, are not technically savvy, but at least are smart enough and humble enough to ask, how does this shit work? And how can I make it work for me?
I think that it has opened up some opportunities. One of the things that I did this summer that had never occurred to me before was that I could actually see a lot of art while I was in lockdown. So I started initiating virtual studio tours. And in 2 months, I saw 60 artists via Zoom or FaceTime. And they would walk me through their studio, tell me about their practice, their technique, their inspirations. So I met 60 new artists this summer that I would not have otherwise.
It's like going to, doubling up your art walk.
Yeah, I mean, it was...
Like you said, on the weekends you go to how many openings? You can go to virtually as many openings as you want now.
I do still go to some virtual events. And participate in some artist talks and curator discussions, but it was really fun to see. I mean, I met artists in London, in New York City, in Canada. One girl in Israel, who found me through online posting, and then I also did a few stints with another curator in New York who had me on as a guest, and I spoke to his clients about how to do presentations, how to do virtual presentations to curators. So
you're learning. We're constantly learning, aren't we?
And expanding through technology. And I think, as you say, that's going to be, I don't think that's going to stop when things open up. I think that now that genie's out of the box and everybody's comfortable doing things online, that's just going to keep expanding.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be difficult to put the genie back in the bottle.
Right.
And I think, in a way, that's probably a good thing. It's what technology, I think, was always meant for, as far as being a tool, and not us being a slave to it. That's interesting, though, because first of all, I'm very happy to see that you're excelling in these times, considering...
Well, I wouldn't say I'm thriving, but I'm existing okay.
Listen, I know people who don't have jobs, who are struggling to pay rent, may even get thrown out of their apartments.
Yeah,
so,
that would be a horrible thing.
Knock on wood that we can at least, hustle our way through this year or year and a half, however long it's going to take.
Right, exactly.
And then, again, lastly, this is how I want to finish up with this conversation, and that is when things go back to a semblance of normality, and I think it's already starting with this election.
Yes.
And
Praise
bringing in a brand new regime, and seeing how they will handle certain aspects of our existence with this pandemic. What do you see happening, Gail?
Well,
are you a half full glass kind of gal?
Oh, my glass is always half full. I'm very grateful.
I've seen you drink. Yes.
I do have happy hour every day at 5 o'clock. I'm very grateful for the opportunities that I have found during this unfortunate time. My last position with Castelli Art Space, with the brick and mortar gallery, was a dream job for me. I had complete autonomy to do whatever I wanted, to curate whatever kind of show I wanted, have whatever kind of events I wanted, and I loved that.
Was that a standalone gallery?
Yes.
And so it's just one here in LA. It's in Beverly Hills, I think?
Was on Washington near Culver City.
In Culver City, right.
Yeah.
Right.
Loved it. And I worked for a tremendous man, Fred Goldstein, who has still a very successful framing business. Castelli Framing is kind of renowned in this town. He does international shipping, crating, printing, beautiful framing. And he had this lovely gallery, which I ran. and he just let me do whatever I wanted. Do I think, and it's closed for good now, it's using it for art storage, which is unfortunate because it was a beautiful space.
Well, for the time being, anyway.
No, he's not going to reopen it.
No?
No. And do I think I'm ever going to have that kind of a job again? Not here in Los Angeles, which is why I'm thinking about this possible opportunity in Tahoe, because it's easier to be a big fish in a small pond. But without that, I think that there will be development, there's always a new condo or a new hotel or something being built here. And if I'm able to break into that as an art advisor, helping corporate buyers or developers, architects, interior designers, people of that sort, find the work that they need, or help people find public art if they need that, that is where I think I'm going to probably move if I stay in Los Angeles. So it's tough to break into, but that's my goal anyway.
For now, you're LA bound.
I'm here. I love LA. You know, the weather is beautiful. It's 88 degrees here today, and
It was actually 90 degrees when I got out of the car.
Yeah, it's November.
Yeah.
So I have no problem with that.
This is the big thing I miss about it. I miss a lot of things about Los Angeles. Of course, I have more friends in LA than I do all over.
I think you should move back.
And a lot of people have been saying that to me as well. I am considering it. We will see. But at the moment, unfortunately, I have my moniker as the Americano in Milano.
Oh, I love that.
Is I'll fill you in on those gory details after we're done with this.
Well, would love to have you back here in LA, and you know, LA needs a fashion designer like you.
That's what I keep hearing. Anyway, Dale, I want to thank you so much for taking this time.
Grateful to be here. Thank you so much. Letting me give my little plug. So DaleYoungman.com if you want to know more about me.
Well, listen, if anyone is interested in art, in
buying or selling or marketing or promoting, I do all of that.
I just pointed to Dale and say, start marketing yourself. Thank you so much, Dale. Ciao.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.